Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here. We are about to watch The Green Knight. Find out what I thought after this.
Tell me a tale of yourself, so that I might know thee.
I have none to tell.
Yet you have none to tell yet.
So we just got out of watching The Green Knight. We're over at the Harkins Camel View, and so I'm going to be really straight with you. David Lowery's last movie also came out from A24. It's called A Ghost Story and has Casey Affleck in it, and I was not a fan of that movie at all. I remember it making my least favorite films of the year it came out, and I didn't have a really high bar of expectation when it came to this movie, The Green Knight. I knew Dev Patel was in it, and I knew the visuals looked really intriguing, like something sort of like out of God of War or Shadow of the Colossus. And I didn't want to go in knowing too much. I read the epic poem when I was in college getting my English degree, and I remembered liking that story. So I came in here relatively cold, and all right. I'm going to say this is probably like in my top 3 films I've seen this year. I'm kind of blown away. Dev Patel is amazing in this. He plays Sir Gawain. And this movie's really interesting. It's sort of like a character elegy. It traces like a person who basically is on the bottom, makes a bad decision in order to get some kind of notice or applause in this world, even though he has it on a small level. But he was, happy in that regard. And he does this action that ends up costing him everything while giving him everything he thought he wanted. Basically, it's set in an Arthurian court, and it turns out the king wants to know something of Gawain, who is his sister's son, and Gawain has nothing of note to tell him, and the king is really encouraging him, and so one day you'll have stories to tell. And his mother behind the scenes summons this Green Knight who comes to play a game on Christmas. This is a Christmas movie, and basically he says he'll take a cut only if he can return that cut in exchange a year later. And to sort of bolster himself and prove his manhood, Gawain cleaves his head off. And the year passes, and he has to go and find the green knight at his stead in the Green Chapel. And from there, it's this journey. And I don't want to take anything away from it. All I can say is Alicia Vikander is amazing in this movie. So is Dev Patel in trying to explore where this character is going and the adventures he has along the way, because he has a lot of adventures. They're broken up into chapters, like, the title card is Sir Gawain and then every chapter is basically like, and the exchange of offerings, and so on and so on. I don't want to spoil it. All I can tell you is the production design on this movie is second to none. The cinematography is amazing, and all the performances throughout, just top to bottom, are amazing. It has a small role in here from Barry Keoghan, who you've seen in, he was the lead in, he was the antagonist in The Killing of a Sacred Deer. And in a lot of ways I know people are going to say, oh, it's an elevated horror, what A24 is known for. In a lot of sense, that's kind of true, in the sense, like, if you think what you think elevated horror is kind of what this movie is, but it's not. What it is it's a very well-told story using trappings of the fantasy and horror genre to enhance it. I mean, you can't really compare it to anything. In a lot of ways, it feels like a fantasy story, but it also sort of like something medieval. I mean, it's weird because I compare it to indie movies. In some ways, it kind of feels like Black Death, this movie with Sean Bean and Eddie Redmayne in it, that's really good. But it also really feels a lot in parts like The Fountain or The Witch, but not at all like those movies. Just like the Black Death is probably the closest thing I could compare it to in terms of acting quality and scope and sort of time period. But it's a fantasy movie, and I don't want to spoil that aspect of it. All I can say is if you're at all curious about this movie, you should go check it out. Go in as cold as you can if you're here to be blown away. And that's all I have to say about it. If you enjoyed my thoughts on this, feel free to check it out and find us at Cult Classics on YouTube and cultfollowing.co and cultclassicsaz.com. Until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.